On this episode of the Team Podcast, myself, Smythe, and co-hosts Mark and Casey J. Ford, we break down the holdout cultures happening in the NFL and the NHL, and then we get down and dirty with Colin Kaepernick and Jay-Z and the Rock Nation deal that he signed with the NFL. Tune in here, and we hope to see you guys soon. Podcast. We love sports just like you. Welcome to the Team Podcast. We are in the end of the summer, so it's our post-summer run. We're getting ramped up for us to get going again, and I got with me here my main man, Mark.
What's up? How you doing?
And Casey J. Ford.
Don't forget the J.
How you guys doing?
I guess so. Okay, living the dream.
Right? How was the summer treating you guys? We took a whole month off.
Summer's been nice.
Oh, month, really?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's hot up here. We had to get out of there.
It was hot up here, but it's been a good summer.
It's good. Any special stories? What else happened? Like, what went down? Like, it was a long time.
Well, I went to New York.
There you go.
I'm not going to go into all the details.
I would like at least one detail. With the first time you came back from New York, I was like, you haven't heard any stories of all of New York the entire time you've been alive? But tell me the first thing you said when I asked you about New York.
I said that I underestimated how big that city is. I haven't been to New York since I was a kid. So as a kid, I don't think you could really appreciate it. No. Going back as an adult, I always used to compare the two cities, Toronto and New York. I was wrong.
Don't worry that.
Like, Toronto clearly mimics New York, the way the architecture is styled. It's the way the streets, you look down a street and it's like, oh, it looks a lot like a place in Toronto. Yeah. I know, right? But my God, New York is big. Right? Like, I mean, I'm just talking about Manhattan. Yeah. Like, I'm not even counting the other boroughs. Right?
But that's crazy. That's it. Like, you have boroughs. Like, we have quote unquote boroughs here.
We don't have no boroughs. Yeah, no,
they're like neighborhoods. But it's you have like New York is huge. Remember, you forgot the state of New York. Even like there's a state of New York. Like, if you go into Buffalo, that's New York.
Yeah, but I mean the Manhattan, like the whole island is skyscrapers. Oh, yeah. Right? Like, I mean, and I thought Times Square was like, like a little strip. I think it's massive. There's billboards everywhere.
It's a city.
And we went to Broadway, and I didn't realize there's like 30 shows going on at the same time in that city.
If you can look at Casey's face right now, it's a look of absolute amazement. Like, no one told him that New York is the mecca of everything.
Everyone has. But until you actually see it for yourself to appreciate it, it is hard to believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Casey didn't believe that New York is what New York is.
Well, I went to Chicago. I've been to Chicago. I've been to a bunch of other American cities. Chicago, I think, is roughly the same size as Toronto. But it didn't put me in awe.
Yeah.
Like New York did. New York put me in awe. When I went there and I was walking down Times Square the first night and we're looking around, it's like, it's endless. We didn't even get to Wall Street area where One Memorial Tower. We didn't even reach that far because we ran out of time. Right? We actually had to say, okay, we're gonna have to make a second trip because there's just so much to do here. We went to Empire State Building. We saw a play on Broadway. We did a whole bunch of touristy things. We went to their museum, the Met. We only did one floor.
How many floors is the place?
I think. Let me rephrase that. We did 2 sections in one floor. So it took us 4 hours.
Okay.
It's massive. It makes the ROM look like a daycare.
Like a bodega or something.
Yeah. It's and no disrespect to Toronto. I love this city.
Do you, though?
I do. I really do love this city. But, I mean, I was wrong to compare the two. New York's a beautiful city. They do have rats, though.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I don't see that in Toronto. I mean, there are rats everywhere.
No, we have mice. They have rats.
Yeah.
But their subway system, we took it everywhere. Didn't use an Uber. We got a Metro card, and it took us everywhere we needed to go. Highly recommend it.
So pretty much what Casey J. Ford is saying, Toronto, do better.
Yeah.
I definitely am not saying it that way.
Get it together.
Casey, you've done more in a place you visited than you in your own city that you live in.
Wow.
Oh, damn, that's true.
Yeah. When you think of it like that.
What does this more to do?
Yeah. That's
But I've never been to New York. Sadly enough, I'm almost 40, and I've never actually been to New York City. Like I've been in the state of New York, but never New York City, which is weird.
Honestly, man, it's.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Before I went, I wouldn't have said you gotta go. I would say, just go to Toronto. Just imagine a few times bigger. No.
So Casey J. Ford, your rating on your trip out of 10, what are you giving it?
You know what? I give it a 10.
Wow. This
Even
that's
though,
like giving 5 mics to like an average album.
do you no, I give it 10 for a few reasons. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff to do there. The food is excellent there. And I went to, like, my sister lives in New York, so we were able to go to, like, some restaurants that aren't on the touristy map.
Oh, she lives there?
Yeah, she lives there.
Jeez.
Right? So, yeah, she lives a better life than I do. But, I mean, the subway, once again, is just amazing. Like, how the fact that you could get anywhere in the city on that subway. The food, the touristy stuff you could do. I can't even imagine what the nightlife is like. I wish I went there when I was in my 20s, to be honest with you.
You can do nightlife now. You're not that old. But, okay. It was a great experience.
It was a great experience. I highly recommend.
Would you consider it for a boys' trip?
Huh.
That was, you don't have to answer that question. That's just
I
an
would
aside.
say no.
Okay.
Only because for me a boys trip is, when you're with the boys, you go to party, yes, but we're at that point in our lives too where we kind of go to relax at the same time.
No.
New York is a working vacation. You are waking up, you are walking a lot. You are not relaxed when you get back home. You are not like, I feel like I haven't done anything in a week. That's not New York.
But yeah, that's like the boys trip going like to Phoenix. Me go walk in the Grand Canyon. I'm not supposed to walk out in 40 degree weather. That's not my idea of a vacation. Like I didn't want to sweat walking down rocks.
That's what I mean. There are two types of vacation. There's the vacation where you're relaxing on the beach or you're doing chill stuff like that, and then there's the we got to go to see this tourist spot. We got to go to that spot, right? So that's why I would say no for a boys trip.
Nah, I went with Joe Green when I went to New York 20 years ago now. We were young.
But when we were 20, yes, that's different. I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
If you're 20, damn right you should be going.
It's to be honest, New York's one of the world wonders, I think. And I say all the time, like you have to go and experience it and just take in like how massive that actually is and what Metropolis really feels like.
Yeah.
And that's living in Toronto. Anyway. Yeah.
That's how I felt too, man.
Right?
Trust me.
Yeah, that's
Mark's gonna come back. You're gonna have a picture of his eyes.
My gosh.
Hey, one day.
One day I'll get there. Okay, let's break into some topics. The first one is a doozy.
Oh, God.
Have you guys seen the trailer for NBA 2K20?
Man, I don't own a game console anymore. It's been a couple years. But I'm going to buy the PS4 in September.
Really?
Let me just run down the cast of characters.
I've seen the trailer, but go ahead.
Idris Elba from Hobbs and Shaw, the bad guy.
I know who he is.
I'm just making sure the leaders. Rosario Dawson from the Marvel movies. Thomas Middlewich, Silicon Valley. Mark Cuban. Ernie Hudson, Ghostbusters. Lamorne Morris, New Girl, and Scottie Pippen, Jaleel White, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kemba Walker. This movie, this is more star-studded than Hobbs and Shaw, and I called it a movie because my question about this is, with video games becoming a bigger draw than box office, does it make sense for actors to now act in games as opposed to movies?
Until the revenue sharing is a bit more equitable for actors, no. Right now, actors get more money from acting in movies or in TV shows. Video games, they don't get that revenue split based on how many games are sold. I guess they could negotiate that in the contract, but that doesn't exist as far as I know in video games.
Well, how much do you think they got? How much work do you think you have to do? Think of it. You're in a video game, everything's CGI. You're just doing the voice acting bits to it.
Exactly. That's why they don't get paid as much.
I guess so. But I mean, like, the video game industry is obviously not getting smaller.
Could argue it's getting bigger.
Right. So, Patriot at Hassan Minaj a couple Sundays ago. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen the show, but I know what it is. It's on Netflix.
Fantastic. So he goes into a tire about video games, talks around Fortnite, and basically said the video game industry is bigger than every sports industry. So NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB combined.
Yeah.
It's a massive, massive maker. Do you think these guys are getting in because there's money in the future of acting in games?
I guess it depends on whether people will buy a video game because there's an actor in it. If we reach that point, yes. Until then, I don't know of anyone who would buy a video game because Jaleel White's. I mean, it sounds pretty cool that these guys are in it, but I don't think that's going to make. I don't think anyone's going to buy it because of that.
Make or break of that.
Right? And movies, it's kind of the opposite. You kind of, I don't know, who's a big actor nowadays? Whoever it is, right? Oh, that person's in this movie? Oh, I got to go see that. So that's the difference.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mark, what do you think? First of all, like, okay, if you were an actor, say you're an A-lister Hollywood actor, and they came to you to appear in 2K, are you doing that 100%, or are you going to think about it and work out the logistics?
I'm doing it. I'm going the Samuel Jackson route, man.
I'm doing everything.
I'm doing everything because, like, you're in video games, you're doing commercials, you're doing voiceovers for like cartoon movies. The more you're out there, the more eventually you can get some. Depending on the person, you can get typecast and put in a box for certain things. But it's like Idris Elba's. You've seen Idris Elba on many scales, like from Luther to Hobbs and Shaw.
What's that DJ thing is on Netflix? I forget what it's called.
Oh, I actually seen it.
You watched it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Is it good?
I liked it.
Oh man, he's great.
I love Idris Elba. I don't remember what it's called, but I did watch it.
Like he's multifaceted as well. Like
he's big right now.
He's like, so it's like, why not? Like if I'm an actor, and they're like, yeah, we want to put you in the game, and as long as the story, I guess the story plot for the game is good, and it's a popular game, why not? Like 2K has been around since what?
Staple.
But it started off at NBA 2K. That was it, right? Like it's been there for 20 years now, and like in the last couple of years, the story slowly got better, but it wasn't. There was no.
It's not this. This is insane.
Yeah, there was no cutscenes. It was just like, okay, you started off as a rookie, you went to camp. Now it's like, now there's story. Now there's ways. Like
it's a movie.
It's like a choose your own adventure.
It's gonna take you 8 hours to get through this. Last question, Casey. Are you going to buy NBA 2K this year, knowing that it is the deepest video game sports simulated story ever, and all your friends are getting it?
Well, probably not, given I sold my PS4 to one of our friends, right? So I'm not buying another PS4 to play this game. Right? That just doesn't make sense. I don't really play a lot of sports video games anymore.
It's a damn shame. But I got something that you might play.
Okay.
Video game streaming is reality. It's coming now. It's literally coming. You can now purchase Google Stadia. The price is $169. Comes with a 3-month premium membership, which means you can play on a 4K TV. It has its own controller, and to compete with that, Microsoft is launching xCloud, which means you can access your Xbox library of games from any device. The connection issues sound like they are handled.
We'll see.
Is this the evolution of video games that we're looking for?
Yes, this is definitely the next step in video games. We've already, the days on PC at least, the days of a hard disk, so a CD or a DVD or whatever it is we're using, those days are over. The only reason consoles still have that is to combat piracy, right? But the streaming of the downloading of games digitally has proven pretty successful for a lot of PC platforms, so it doesn't surprise me that it's happening. I question whether it's playable for high-end graphic games, right? Because what's happening, for those of you who may not know, basically the servers at Google or Microsoft run the game on their super high-end computers with their super high-end video cards, and then they stream it to you through the internet. The internet compresses everything, so what you're getting necessarily won't look as good as what it's supposed exactly.
Right.
So if they could figure that part out where you don't lose too much of the quality, then yes, it's the next thing.
So Mark, right now, say you're sitting at work, you go for your hour break. Do you see yourself walking to sit down at lunch place with a laptop and a controller and breaking out 2K and playing a game? Do you? Because that's the reality of it now.
I wouldn't do it like that. Like for me, I've always been just that. Like I get Casey's point about like the issues of losing the quality. I'm not gonna go spend $4 or $5 grand on the TV and then stream something and it looks
very good point.
It look, that's like I'm not gonna play a low quality, play a game on that looks low quality on a high quality TV.
Yeah,
like that doesn't make any sense.
Very
so, like,
good point.
Now they're promising 4K quality.
Yeah, but so does Netflix, but they don't. It's not actual 4K.
Yes,
right, and it's all about the internet provider. If they start limiting how much data gets through, because they only have so much bandwidth too.
Yeah.
Right? So I agree with Mark. I didn't even think of the TV aspect where you spend that much money on a TV.
Well, playing on your TV is an option now. You can play on your laptop. You can
Doesn't
play
matter
on your cell phone.
because the quality degrades if the internet provider slows down the connection.
Yeah.
Because if everyone gets this, our network can't handle that kind of data, right?
Yep.
So I question if it's actually sustainable if a large number of people use it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And if something goes down, like the server goes down, there's issues, then everyone's affected.
You
like
can't play.
if I have a hard copy, I can play regardless. And
Yep.
like you said, like going back to your question you asking me, if I'm in the office, I have a hard disk. If I work at some place like Google or Apple, we gotta have a TV that's mounted, and we're playing there on my
You're
break.
balling on that TV.
Like I don't want to have to turn on my laptop and make sure I bring all and plug in everything and then try to play for an hour. Like that, I'm already wasting 20 minutes getting set up.
That's why you just take controller and just press play on your cell phone. You can play on your cell phone. So the numbers are right now that Microsoft has twice as many servers and capacity as Google to launch the streaming service. But Google is Google.
It's not about that though, and that's the key. It's about your internet speed.
In your home,
right?
Or your
it's
Wi-Fi
about the internet speed coming into
are.
your home. Like you would need to play the high-end games like Mark was referring to with your OLED TVs. You would need a minimum of the gigabyte or gigabit internet service that exists in.
They're saying 35 megabytes gives you
to minimum.
Yeah, well, to play at 4K. That's what they're saying, and I don't know if that's true. I'm saying what they're saying. But what I think is you're going to see a switch. So.
You notice how they don't mention the graphics fidelity. They don't mention what settings the graphics are at.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I could stream at 4K if the quality is shit.
Yeah.
Right? But, I'm sorry. But 4K is just a resolution. It's not the only thing you got to take into consideration. So fair. On a console, it's different. You don't really choose your graphics setting. It's always at the max of what the console could do. Right? So video game companies, and my fear is video game companies are going to start, if they build for this, if they make the games for this, then you're going to see graphics quality go down because they don't want to make a game that stutters and stuff like that,
that's
and then people don't buy it.
That's right.
Right? So it's all about and no one has control over internet connection.
Well, I think maybe you're not going to see the A+ games streamed on Stadia. So I know already, I'm one of the founding people that have purchase this.
You bought this already.
So I'm going to play and I'm going to see how it all runs, and I'm going to run on a laptop, whatever. And I think I think you're going to get games that aren't the norms. You're not going to buy, like, my Madden won't be on Stadia. That's just ridiculous. Anything that I'm going to play for fun, maybe a Call of Duty or something, I can grab it, play for 15 minutes or whatever, and then jump off, would be excellent for streaming, excellent to play anywhere, and being able to play with friends at a remote location would be an absolute blast.
Do you remember when I had my laptop here and I realized I could play a game off of my computer?
Yes.
Remember how it looked?
Yes.
That's what it's going to look like.
Well, I hope not. Yeah.
It's going to be based now. My internet isn't as good as yours, so the outbound quality was a little bit obviously lower. But that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what will affect it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's unfortunate.
Cancel the service.
It has nothing to do with Google. It has nothing to do with Microsoft. It's about the Rogers and the Bells of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're limited to what your connection is.
Exactly.
Well, I'll keep you guys updated on how it looks, and I'll post some videos online for you guys.
You have the super internet too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That better be great. Better be fantastic. All right, guys, let's get into some sports. Let's do some sports. How about that?
Okay.
Let's start at the beginning of the sports section of the podcast. The first thing we're going to talk about, and everyone's already talking about it, Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon, holdouts, specifically running back holdouts, because Michael Thomas held out, wide receiver. He got his money. He got $18 million. No one bats an eye. But the NFL has a running back problem. And this situation has hit an ugly head because of how I think contracts are currently structured. Quick breakdown. When an NFL player comes into the league, they're assigned a deal. And the deal is 5 years. So teams have control for 5 years. You have a certain salary that you make, and that's your rookie deal. You can negotiate at any time throughout that deal, but while a team has control of you, they don't have to do anything. Ezekiel Elliott led the league in yards from scrimmage on average, because he missed games the entire time he's been in the NFL. So he's arguably the best running back, arguably one of the most valuable players in the league that's not a quarterback. He's set to make $2 million this year. He needs to renegotiate because this is his one big payday. Because once a running back turns 28, 29, 30, their value drops significantly. He's not going to camp. He wants to be the highest paid running back in the league. Based on production, that makes total sense. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys have a quarterback in Dak Prescott who wants to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And they have a wide receiver, Amari Cooper, who's also very talented and up for a new deal. So it's a delicate situation. And you don't have to do Dak Prescott because he has 2 years left before he can actually leave as a free agent. Now, here's my question. You have a team that's expected to win the Super Bowl. You have one player who is not the best behavior-wise, but he's the guy you've built your team around. Then you have a quarterback who you draft in the 3rd round, so he's not a top pick, but he's won a ton of games. And he won a lot of them because he has this running back behind him. You've traded your 1st-round pick for a wide receiver last season, and if you let that guy walk, you wasted a 1st-round draft pick. Very valuable. Which order are you paying your players? These are non-football guys. This is why I'm asking the question in this way, people at home, if you don't know. We've heard a lot of expert takes on this, and I'll be honest with you. Expert takes are all jaded. So I'm going to go to Casey first, because I think Mark is actually thinking about this.
I guess you're trying to say that I'm not an expert at this particular topic. You're definitely right. I've obviously watched some shows, sports shows, and they do talk about it. And I listen to some sports shows and they talk about it. I think NFL players are beginning to know what their worth is, right? And you alluded to it earlier with this is going to be his opportunity to get paid properly,
Yep.
right? And NFL players are watching other sports, particularly basketball and baseball, and seeing these players get paid ridiculous amounts of money for sports that don't even make half of what the NFL makes.
Yep.
Right? So they're saying, well, no, I want what I'm deserved. Right? Now, I question why the NFLPA has this set up so a rookie is basically locked in for 5 years to be paid so little money that I question why they signed that particular contract, or if they were forced to. I'm not sure what the issue was there. But to me, I'm glad he's holding out to get paid. And from the recent reports I'm reading, it looks like an offer was made that would make him between $52 million and $57 million. Right? So I don't know if that's enough for him. Right? According to ESPN, that's the 2nd highest paid running back. Right? I don't know if he wants to be the first, the highest paid, so maybe it's not going to be good enough for him. But I think NFL players have to start using their leverage, and they're watching other sports and watching other players in these sports do the exact same thing. Why not them?
That makes sense. Zeke's making $3.8 million this year, so that's my mistake. So you'd pay him.
I think he should be paid. Now, if I was the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm not going to say I know what the bottom line is of the Dallas Cowboys, but I know they're considered one of the richest organization. I think they are the richest organization in all the sports in North America.
Salary cap's a salary cap, though. Can't pay everyone, right?
Well, they purposely have deflated that salary cap, right?
Yes.
So maybe this is a way for the players to say, well, listen, you want to keep players? Then raise that salary cap. Why is it so low in the first place?
$200 million is not low. It's a lot of money.
For teams that are worth, well, Dallas Cowboys worth like a few billion.
Yep.
Yeah, for teams that are worth that much money,
You can pay
and
them
for
more.
a sport that's making that much money, you could raise the salary cap.
All right. Casey pays everyone. Mark,
You pay if you deserve it.
what do you think?
All right, let me take off my thinking cap here.
Just get into the...
I'm going to first touch on what Casey said. Casey said that players are now realizing their worth. But what is your worth? Because, and I've said it, I've had discussions with other people about just in general, like more or less primarily basketball, but it can go in every sport, is that people feel they deserve this. But when you first started playing this sport, what did you do it for? You did it because you loved the sport. You didn't care. You went to school, you got a free ride. You played all through high school. Your parents scraped tooth and nail for you to play the sport that you enjoyed. So now I come as a rookie, I have 2 good seasons, 3 good seasons, and they say we want to give you $10 million. It now becomes, it's no longer the love of the sport anymore. Like, because now there's players that are saying, I'm not going to play until I get my money. It's like, fine, I'll have someone else play.
But don't you think they deserve? Don't you think they deserve that money given how much money they're making the team?
I don't... Yeah.
But the thing is, you could pull that aside and say, like, for you, your job, for what you do at your job, do you feel you should be making more? Do you think you should go in and say, I'm not doing no work until I get this amount?
If I feel I wasn't being compensated fairly, then yeah, I would, or I would find a new job.
Which is where it gets complicated, because Ezekiel is technically the best player, not a quarterback, behind center. The last every game he's played, and we have to go by averages because again he missed games for misbehaving.
But and that's it. Like there's still some I guess foundation that has to be set. Like you said, bad behavior. You can give him his payday. 2 plays into the first season, first game of the season, out for the season. So now he got his money. He got what he deserved. I didn't. I as an owner did not get what I deserved. I gave you the money, and the thing is, like, I'm giving you money as one as security. So if you get a season-ending injury and it caused you to have to now retire. Okay, you're compensated.
Well, there's insurance for that. It's not like these teams actually do pay it out of pocket. There's insurance.
I know, but I understand that. But the thing is, like, he has that, whatever, 10, 15 million and that insurance. But it's like, you went and you played all those years. You played in college. Like, you had no security blanket.
Yeah,
but it was for a reason.
Yeah, he wants a security blanket now.
But the thing is, and like you said, Ezekiel Elliott is arguably the best person that's not at his position right now.
One. Yes.
But the thing is that there's those guys that block for him so he can be the best.
Yes. But they've been paid already.
But the thing is that how many linebackers and how many O-line guys would be like, you know what? I'm not playing. It's like, you know what? I'll let that. If I don't get paid that money, I'll play. But I'm gonna let that hole close up real fast every time.
That's the conversation, right? There's only so much money. So if Zeke takes so much, there's no money for somebody else.
And that's I guess I'll sort of back in that lane. And bottom line is, like, I understand you want your fair shake at what you feel you should be compensated for, but then you got to look at, in order for me to do it, all these pieces have to be in place. So it's like my receiver is like, I can't run the ball every play.
I mean,
well, I guess that's the question: is what he's asking for comparable to other positions and other running backs in the league?
That's why
that are at his level.
So this is why I said the NFL has a running back problem, because let's be honest, like Ezekiel Elliott and Melvin Gordon are two top running backs in the league. The concept of you not giving both these guys a raise after having phenomenal seasons, it's ridiculous. If a quarterback gave you a season where he throws 40 touchdowns and he's making $10 million, next year he wants $20 million, he signs that the next day. There's no questions asked. But running backs, I guess owners think they're a dime a dozen. So even a running back at Zeke's level, for instance, has to sit out games, has to not come to camp to get himself a new deal. Mind you, with 2 years left, this is something that you think you wouldn't have to deal with till later. The only reason why Zeke is saying this is because Dak Prescott isn't getting in line for his raise. So if you pay him $40 million, whatever he wants, there's no money left to give Zeke the money he wants. So Zeke had to go now, right? Now, the team isn't as good without Ezekiel Elliott because we've seen a sample size without him, right? And that, unfortunately, like he got in trouble and he got suspended. When they're suspended, the team's not as good. Dak Prescott played in all those games. He suffered without Ezekiel Elliott. So it makes you say, you know what, Zeke is worth the money that he's asking for. But are you going to handcuff your team by paying him and telling Dak he has to take less when Dak Prescott's your quarterback? Because quarterback makes now 3 times as much as your best running back.
Well, then they need to start looking at that. They need to start like if all the running backs and all the other NFL players that you were saying start to take a stand and saying, you know what, we're not going to watch anymore the quarterback take 50% of the damn salary cap, then that's what's going to force the change. And that's what these players are beginning to realize. But when I say they're beginning to understand what they're worth, that's what I mean. They're beginning to understand that, wait a second, we actually hold some power here.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we actually just banded together and said, you're not going to, I don't want to say mistreat, but you're not going to underpay us anymore and pay all our salary and pay half the salary cap to one guy and then say the rest of you guys figure it out for the scraps. Well, I'm all for that.
The other case I have for you guys is the case of Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is making $5.6 million this year. He's in his last year of player control, which usually what happens, your salary goes up every year you're in the league. After your last year of player control, you can franchise tag the player for 2 years. A franchise tag means that you can sign them and they can't go anywhere else, and you have to double their salary. So you franchise tag him next year, it's $11.2 million. You can tag him again, but it's not long-term security. Melvin Gordon has refused to come to camp, and he's demanded a trade, to which the brass in LA, the Chargers, they've laughed. They said, yeah, that's great. He has to play. If he sits this year out, then they have the next year of control of him still. So he still can't leave the team. So he's got to play this year. And they're saying he's not getting a new deal till at least this year is over. So 2 top running backs in a situation like this, running backs are talking about forming a separate union because they feel like they're being undervalued at that level. And I guess when your top players are being treated this way, imagine how your mid-tier to lower guys are being treated, right? But the question actually was about just holdout culture in general. Do you guys think players should refuse to play their contracts, demand trades, ask for more money? Or do you think that these guys are making millions of dollars and they should be happy to be in the position that they're in and they should honor their contracts? Because that's what we're really talking about here. And it goes from sport to sport.
I feel that you shouldn't hold out. Because it's like you're making, 5-6 times more than a person like a doctor, a lawyer, like someone that's doing something every day that's a little bit more meaningful and has a little more purpose in life. Like a good part of the world doesn't watch football, doesn't watch basketball, don't understand it, don't see the point of it, but yet you're making more than, 5 times more than a doctor that, spent, a quarter of what you get paid just to educate himself to not, to have to work the next 40 years to even come close to what you're making. And it's like I'm a player. You played the sport from 5 years old all the way up to 18. 30. Well, I'm saying 5
for free.
For free.
Yeah.
Like you begged your mom for this, begged your mom for that. She scraped together, got up early and dropped you to practice, drove you to tournaments, and you played it in hopes to going to school, and you got a free education out of it. Then you go into the league, you get a little bit of money, And like even some people are like, I have dreams of making it to the league and winning a championship. Then it turns away from, I don't care about the championship. I want as much money as I can. It's like, at what point, where did your priorities change? You, as a kid, I want to make it to the NBA. Then it's like, well, I don't want to play for this team. I want to play for a championship caliber team. It's like, for me, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you play, like, be grateful that you have the opportunity to play, because there's thousands of other people that are hurting to do that and be in that position.
And where they don't get that chance.
And where do they go? They're overseas constantly playing.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Casey?
I respectfully disagree.
It's funny because I knew exactly this is going to happen before I asked the question.
We're not taking into consideration. Well, first of all, as far as the kids growing up and wanting to play the sport and playing it for free, I would argue they look at the lifestyle of these players as well and understand, if I make it like there, I'm going to be rich. So I think that's a huge part of the drive to get there. Second is, listen, like, let's use Michael Jordan as an example. Okay? He made the Bulls how much money? Right? Until he said, you know what? I'm not signing your contracts anymore. You're going to pay me $30 million a season, which was unprecedented at the time, because I'm bringing in all the money here. Right? I'm the reason people are coming to watch these games. Not the owner that nobody knows the name of, me. Right? And that's what these players realize now. It's like, wait a second. We're the draw. We're the product. Why are we getting a fraction of the profits? Right, and this is America, right? This is America, right? We don't do things for free in the Western world, right? We get compensated the correct amount of money based on what the company is making, right? In professional sports, these owners are making a boatload of money off of these teams, especially the NFL, right? So I don't like the argument that just because it's the game I love, you should be able to make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of me. It's like the NCAA. It's the same argument. It's just they don't get paid.
No, but they don't get paid.
They make nothing.
Yeah, they make nothing. But the thing is that, okay, I'm going to pay for your education. You can come here.
But those kids don't finish school.
Again. I'm not saying...
I hate that. It's a tough argument.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when you're promoting a game using my likeness, saying, come watch me play, and I don't get a cent off of that?
Whoa, they get a lot of money.
Who?
The players make a ton of money.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about NCAA at that particular point in time.
No, they get education though. They sign and it's
my
not
point
cheap.
is the NCAA makes billions of dollars.
Yeah, I get it.
Right? So, but let's go back to the NFL. These guys are saying, you know what? Like, I don't know about forming their own union. I think that's a bit much.
Well, it's something. It's a fight.
I think they need to work with the union they have, and to me, the entire union should be for this.
Well, here's
I'm not sure why certain people at the union wouldn't be for all players getting more money.
Yeah, well, here's my take. And it comes from just being part of a corporate world. Somebody buys something. You own that thing. And you're mandated to pay your players a certain amount, and that's part of the agreement. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, the players are saying they want to be paid based on what the owner's making. But that's not in their realm of A, responsibility, or B, privilege.
That's not exactly what the players are asking.
Because they want to share profits. They say the owner makes this much, we should be compensated fairly.
Well, they make a percentage.
Yes. Fair compensation is not a percentage of what the guy that invested all the money makes. If I invest $1 million in a project, okay, and then it brings me back $5, I don't have to share that $5 that I made.
So why does the player have to give his services then?
Because the player's under contract. That's why you sign, you pay them. If you don't want to play for that contract, don't sign it. Don't play. That's an option.
They don't have a choice, though. When you enter in the league, you are forced to sign this contract, or you're not allowed to play in this league, right? The difference between, you're comparing it to the rest of the regular corporate world. The difference with the regular corporate world, that doesn't exist. You could go into the regular corporate world and you could be a star and you could make millions of dollars for your company. You could leave whenever you want and go to a different company and get paid more money.
You're not
that's the difference. Of course, you're under contract. You sign a contract when you join a company. The difference is there's not a year minimum you have to work with that company. That's the difference.
Yeah, but
right.
But what you're saying is, they're forced to sign this initial contract because they have to play in the league. I get it. But the compensation that all the players go through is the same. It's not like if you get drafted in the first round, you make this much money. Second round, this much money. So I think that if I'm investing it, like I have this team, I own this team, I'm paying all the salaries and stuff like that.
I get it from an owner's point of view. Yeah. I really do get it from an owner's point of view.
I mean, forget individual players. I'm like, the fact that players talk about taking a percentage of the earnings because they earned it is completely ludicrous because they don't have the money to invest to bring that return back.
That's not what they're saying. So the NBA and the NHL both get 59 or 49% of the overall profits.
Yes.
Right? I have no idea what the NFL number is, but I'm pretty sure it's
nowhere
not
that
close
high.
to that high.
No, it's not that high.
Okay? That's what they're arguing. So they're not saying that this player deserves a percentage of how much the Dallas
the players should get.
And that's perfectly legitimate, right? It's perfectly legitimate. And the NBA and the MLB is pretty close to 50% too, if I remember correctly, right? But the problem is that the contract that the NFLPA signed that obviously says that these guys get paid for 5 years. You said this off the top of the argument. How long does a running back's career last?
Not that long.
How long?
On
average.
Oh, average 3 years, not even.
So you're telling me on average, let's say 5 years.
Yeah.
Let's say on average a running back's career is 5 years. But they're under their rookie contract for 5 years.
Well, a lot of them don't make it out of the rookie contract. You got to remember that too. Now,
but my point is that they could play exit. They could be the best player in the league for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then their career is over at the end of their rookie contract, and no one has to pay them. That's not fair.
The players that are at the best, their careers are longer because the good players are going to get signed and keep
Injuries
going.
could happen.
Yeah, 100%, and that's why that's what they protect against. But
that's why this is happening.
Yeah,
the players realize, wait a second, I could get my knee blown out tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm not getting my payday. That's not right. That's what they're saying.
There's the two train of thought. The first train of thought for me is that you're right. Security is very important. So, my first 5 years, I've only made, $12 million. I'd like to see a bigger payday. But the second one is, as good as you are, there's 100 guys behind you that are just as good. So your actual net value goes down. And that's what running backs are experiencing right now. Paying running back $10 million in this league is ludicrous. You'd rather draft a kid that comes out of school at 21 years old and he can run it down the throat for the next 5 years. And there's always another kid coming from a pristine college that can run the ball down their throats.
Then the owners don't pay them.
That's the case in point we're trying to make. But now, when you have the very best running backs going through this situation, imagine what the crappier ones are going through. And that's why they're thinking of unionizing.
But they already are in a union. That makes no sense.
A separate union just for the running back. I don't know. It's a crazy situation.
Listen, I understand Mark's argument. I understand what you're saying. I see it from all sides. And I see how I would be in the separate situations. As an owner, there's a contract. You signed it. It's not my fault what the CBA says. As a player, you're trying to protect and maximize your profits. I get it.
So should the NHL, the NFL, should they go more the Europe route? So you're only signing guys for like a year contract, and every year you're gonna
re-up the contract.
Re-up the contract. For like international players. But the thing is that's where if you have a good season, okay, I can give you more money because obviously my rookie season is a breakout season, and sales go up and profit goes up. Okay, I can give you more money. So it's like you have a crap season.
Yeah, but if you're a top player, why would you ever sign a 1-year contract?
That's the pushback you're going to get.
That's the problem they have, and all the players will never. Players, Le'Veon Bell turned down $17 million because he wanted a long-term contract. And he ended up signing a contract for 4 years that was less money, but he had security for 4 years instead of just the one. I don't know. It's a crazy situation. We'll obviously follow as it goes along, but I wanted to take a dip dive. I wanted to get into some hockey. It's been a while.
The sport I know the most about.
The fans have been asking about it. Here's what I want to... I'm going to say this. I'm just going to have one statement. And this statement should shock you guys, but I don't know how you guys feel about these things. Mitch Marner has been offered 3 deals. 7 years at $10.75 million a year, 6 years at $10 million a year, and 3 years at $8.75 million a year. This is according to rumors, obviously. Mitch Marner scored 94 points last season. Underneath him, Braden Point, Tampa Bay Lightning, best team in the league, not in the playoffs, talk about that later, 92 points in the season. 14 players currently, restricted free agents, are holding on waiting to see what happens with these 2 players. Last season, William Nylander waited till the last moment to sign his deal. And here's what I'm going to say. It effectively ruined the Leafs' chances of getting a better spot in the playoffs and led to them getting knocked out of the first round. Incredibly selfish deal. Restricted free agents in the NHL are becoming one of the biggest issues in the league. The reason why is because they have a very short span of time in the league and they're looking for contracts as big as top players. Sidney Crosby, arguably the best hockey player we're going to see in our lifetime, makes $8.75 million a year. He hasn't even cracked the top 10 anymore.
How much did he make it in his prime?
$8.75 million.
That's how much he made in his prime?
This is his big money contract. Okay? He didn't take all the money. They also paid Evgeny Malkin. They also paid Jordan Staal. They paid 3 guys approximately $8 to $9 million a year. Do you think these players, because these guys haven't done anything, you hear Braden Point, you hear Mitch Marner, they had good years last year, but these guys aren't part of Stanley Cup winning teams. These guys didn't get out of the first round. There's other players that are not as good as these guys that probably got further. But the fact that these guys are all holding out, there's 2 things. You're either waiting to see the chips fall with these top players, and then chips will fall with them, and everyone will negotiate the deals after, or all of these guys think they're more valuable to their teams than the people that are paying them. Do you think that players that haven't proved it deserve money based on performance?
No. I think there has to be at least a minimum, at least 2 years before I start throwing out money. Regardless if I sign them for a 2-year or 3-year contract, if I sign them for a 3, or even use NFL, like if we were to apply that same kind of thing into NHL and say, okay, 5-year minimum, if after year 2, you know, you're steady, you're
stud,
yeah, and things are, and the progression looks like it's always going to be like steadily improving, then we'll renegotiate your contract. We'll add that extension. We'll change something.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, Mitch Marner, Braden Point had great seasons. But I give him that money, and then next season he plays. He can play all his games. They can play 3 quarters of the NHL season. But if their point total is not on pace to match what they did, it's like, I just gave you that money
or better.
You know, or better. But the thing is, if I give it and you don't match it, or you don't follow that same pace, and we don't make the playoffs, or the team repeats, it's like, I kind of need more out of you.
I kind of need more.
And then it's like, now you go into the next season, and he might go back up to the same point total, but we still lose in the first round. It's like, I'm giving you this money so we can get over this hump, but I'm giving you money. I can't give you the same. I can't give you more money, and you give me the same result.
Production.
If I'm giving you that money, like if you go, I take a quick step back to Ezekiel Elliott. I give you that money, then I expect to be
in the Super Bowl,
or the conference
or something.
Yeah, like I need to be at that tier. Like I'm not losing the second round. Like if I give you that money, you have to.
You got to produce. Casey, what do you think?
I respectfully disagree.
Respectfully punch you in the face.
Once again, why are the players the only ones that have to sacrifice? I don't get that. Like, we keep on talking about, well, you haven't proven it. I would argue the owners haven't proven anything either, right? Or the team, the ownership running the team, right? I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, why shouldn't he hold out for the most money he could get? Of course he should. And I don't think that's selfish, because at the end of the day, the owners are doing the exact same thing.
Well, it's a two-way street, right?
Exactly. So you can't demonize one side and then not mention the other side,
well, so
right?
In the case of a Mitch Marner, a Braden Point, Ezekiel Elliott, they've already shown improved, right? They gave you what they could do, and they're saying it's worth a certain amount. Now, Mitch Marner's offers are here, and if they're true, which I'm going to assume they are because I saw it on a source, that's a lot of money. That puts him in the top tier, top 1%, whatever, of wingers in this league. And the only player on the team that's making more than him are the centers. Now, centers make more because they take face-offs and they play more important hockey. Mitch Marner wanting center money could be the cause of this deal not getting done. Right? Now, Tavares makes $11 million and Austin Matthews $11.6 or whatever he's making. Do you think Mitch Marner is justified in asking for a pay grade that's outside of his position now?
Forget position. We're talking about
production.
We're talking about production. It's not about position, right? And hockey, out of every sport, is the most... This is the way it's always been done, so this is the way we're going to keep on doing it. That doesn't... It never made sense
It's a place to air your grievances on
right?
the NHL.
No. I'm not doing that, but I'm telling the truth, aren't I?
Yeah.
Right? Like, your argument is, traditionally, centers have always made more. Totally. Therefore, he should not get paid.
That is the argument.
Regardless of what his production is. That's a stupid argument.
That is the actual argument. And I think that's the reason why this deal hasn't been done.
It's an argument that does not make sense.
Well,
games, sports, games, everything grows. Everything changes. Yeah, right?
I'm going to step in there, Casey.
I'm going to get you.
I hear you. But I'm going to disagree.
Respectfully.
No, I'm going to disrespectfully agree on this one. Because you're saying, it's like saying, okay, the center does more. He's more, like, certain positions, whether in any sport, the higher paid guy, because he's the catalyst. He makes things happen.
Quarterback makes more.
Because now, if I'm saying, okay, Mitch, I'm going to give you that money. I want you to do face-offs. But now if his percentage of face-offs, he's losing them where anyone else is winning them, it's like...
We're in trouble.
You give me this money. You can't even win face-offs?
You don't give me this money.
That's like saying, okay, Ezekiel, I'm going to give you more money than a quarterback. But the quarterback is in the game the whole time. You get tired. You have to sit down. The backup has to come in and run a couple plays. The quarterback is always throwing unless the game's a blowout. Then he sits down and he doesn't come back in. I don't flip guys.
What does that have to do with me? And when I say me, I'm talking about the individuals that are holding out.
Yes.
I don't care what the quarterback has to do. That's what their argument is. That doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with me.
But then that's what you said. You said, what about me? And then it's like when the team starts losing and they're like, Casey, how come you guys are losing? Well, I can't speak for those guys. I can only speak for myself.
Damn right.
But it's like now you become the catalyst, but in that negative connotation.
Why is it negative? Why should
I give you that money, Casey.
Why should players always be the ones who sacrifice? Why?
Mark, the GM, would sit down and be like, you want more money? What more are you going to do? You ran for 2,000 yards last year. You got to run for 3. I'll give you this money.
It's almost like you have to have, like you said, regardless of the sport, it's almost like you need criteria. You have to meet this. Like, say for NFL, you get a bonus if you achieve.
But they have. That's the whole point. These two players we're talking about had excellent seasons. Yet you still don't want to pay him.
If he pays me, he wants to do more.
What I'm saying is, like, you have to meet a criteria in order to get a certain amount. So he says,
but they did.
No, but what I'm saying is he Ezekiel, whatever, Mitch.
Not Ezekiel, Mitch.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Whatever. You've achieved certain things. What I'm saying is, from your, like, as stupid as it may sound, like, from your initial contract, you have to, like, almost like a tier level. Like, if you want to get, if you want to make $8-9 million now a season, these are the criteria. This is the criteria you have to have.
But let me get this straight. No, Mitch Marner has the most. Does he have the most points on the Leafs?
Yeah.
Mitch Marner is arguably the best player on that team based on stats. That's not good enough for you. It's based because your argument is
if he wants that money, he's got to do more than that.
But there has to be, like, for me, there has to be a consistency. Like, okay, you had the best, you had the most on the league, you had the most on the team this year. I give you the money, you now fall to 5th, and it's like.
But you gotta happen yet. You gotta pay him first.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't happen yet.
Now,
you can't base it off what you might think.
What I will say though is that Mitch Marner has earned a contract around $10 million a year.
How many years?
The problem we have here is that he's not even taking that.
How many years?
More than
how
that.
many years has Mitch been in the league?
Mitch has been in the league at 3 years,
and he's been good all 3 years.
No, the first 2 years he's okay.
Okay,
he had a breakout season last year. But what I'm saying is they said here's $10 million. And this guy's like, no.
You know why he's saying no?
At that point?
Because he's saying, I'm the best player on this team. I don't care about position. He's saying, I am the best player on this team. Why would I be paid the third most amount of money?
I respectfully disagree with that.
Please explain why.
Oh, because he doesn't take faceoffs. No, so Mitch Marner, penalty kill, power play. He's the most important player to this team. He's very quick, whatever. He does play the wing, and he plays with absolute studs. So you're playing with Tavares, that's an absolute stud. You're going to have a great year because the defense is focused on him not scoring. You're going to scare him to do whatever you want because there's a guy on your line that is more dangerous than you. And that's how players have great seasons. Now, have a breakout season under that format. Do you think you now deserve to make more than that player that the entire defense is afraid of? I don't think so.
So Scottie Pippen shouldn't get paid the same amount as Jordan.
Right.
No.
Okay, because Scottie Pippen, arguably...
No, that's the argument.
Right. Yeah, it's the guy that gets to be dangerous because there's someone more dangerous on that line. Right? So with that situation in mind, thinking of that analogy, Mitch Marner doesn't deserve to make the same money as Tavares or as Matthews.
Well, how do you know it wasn't the other way around?
Because Tavares has been a great player forever. Tavares also had his best year, but they expected that out of him. Mitch Marner had a great... They were like, oh, that's great. This is going to cost us money. And that's where we are right now.
To me...
Pay him?
Well, yes, pay him. But two, the way the NHL system is set up, where you could be a restricted free agent, but you can't sign with any other team.
No, you can.
Yeah, but the team has to give up basically everything under the sun.
Everything.
Right? So it was clearly designed... So you can't leave the team.
Yeah.
That's how it was designed. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Right? The NHLPA needs to eliminate that rule. Right? So whenever the contract negotiations are next, that has to be the first to go. Because they screwed themselves with that.
Well, they don't want players leaving their teams. And this is how they keep their draft picks in the cities.
That's exactly what they're doing. Right?
Yeah.
So because I guarantee you, if he was able to sign with any other team, he would be signed.
Yeah. Probably.
Guarantee you. And same with Zeke Elliott. If he was able to sign, I know technically he's still not a
he'll never
free agent.
Yeah, he can't.
But I don't think that exists in NFL, right? But NFL needs to change the union needs to push back and say, well, we need to have that freedom
then you have
and that leverage.
NBA situation where players go wherever they want.
And the MLB?
Well, yeah, but baseball.
Baseball's a little different.
Great players are coming out of the yin yang every 5 seconds. Where the NBA, they're hard to come across, and they leave. And do you want that on your do you want your NHL team to have players that are just constantly getting drafted to a team, spending a couple of years, and then getting out as soon as they can?
It's not about what I want. It's about what's best for the player, or what best they believe is what's best for them.
Okay. You know what it's really about.
It's about money.
No, what's best for the owners. But
well, for the owners' front, yes, it's what they believe that. And from the players' front, they believe what's best for me.
Yeah,
and exactly. I can't wrong either side for thinking that.
I hear you. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the NFL. We're going to get into Colin Kaepernick. We're going to get into Jay-Z. We're going to get into Roger Goodell. And it's going to be heated. Stay tuned. You can catch the Team Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. So that includes Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and anywhere else you get yours. Also, hit us up on our favorite social media sites, which include Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my personal favorite, Tumblr. Welcome back, ladies and gents. Team Podcast. I'm here with my man, KCJ Ford.
Don't forget the J.
And my main man, Mark.
You know what it is. Let's go.
Yeah, you like how I say main man, Mark? That's your new tag, the main man.
I don't know. I don't really feel like I have a tag.
No, you just got one.
I've been introduced numerous ways, and it's just I feel like I'm not really appreciated on this team. I don't feel like I'm getting. I don't feel my worth
You need to come up with your own thing, man.
You know what? If we're gonna pay you, if we're gonna give you the money, Mark, you got to bring more to the
Casey,
show.
you don't make up your own nickname.
I'm not saying your own nickname,
You deemed it.
But you gotta have your own. Your own thing.
Main man, Mark, you just got it. Jesus,
I don't like that one personally.
No,
I don't
doesn't
like
have to be good. Hey, it doesn't have to be
like
good.
KCJ4, like even though because when we found out what your middle name was, that's why we started calling you KCJ4. Like,
I get it, and I've obviously used it, right? You are right. A nickname should be given. It shouldn't be call me the Black
Smythe
Mamba.
The DJ. He's not a DJ, but he's for some reason
That is the worst. It is the worst nickname evolved in here. Actually, it's ridiculous. DJ Smythe. It's horrible. Okay. This is the meat and potatoes that I've been talking about all week. It's what the entire world is talking about.
The world?
I
Obviously,
don't know about meat and potatoes. More like a jambalaya. More like a jambalaya. It's like a lot of ingredients.
It's all mixed in together. We're going back to NFL because we have to. The deal that was struck between Jay-Z and Roger Goodell, or the NFL as a whole. The background of the story, and I'll just give you guys a quick background. There was a song where Jay-Z said he turned the Super Bowl down, and they need Jay, and Jay doesn't need them. Remember that conversation? Then Jay-Z was on Saturday Night Live supporting Colin Kaepernick and the Kaepernick cause. A deal was struck between Jay-Z's Rock Nation and the NFL. The league will work with Rock Nation on its entertainment performances such as the Super Bowl halftime show, but also to strengthen community through football and music, and the NFL's Inspire Change initiative. Now, Colin Kaepernick was a quarterback in the NFL, and in 2016, when he was on the bench for the San Francisco 49ers, making $12 million a season, he started to take a knee. And he took a knee for social injustice, police brutality against black people. There was other things involved in it, but that was the main of it. They asked him to stop. He would not. Different players, teams all together, began to kneel with him as a show of unity. After the 2016 season, Colin Kaepernick was abolished from the NFL. Can we officially say that now? Because he did settle a suit with the NFL for the grievance, and it was a sum of money that he got from the NFL because they basically said you can't play here anymore. So He was effectively blackballed from the league. The issue that we're hearing is Jay-Z is being called a sellout by numerous people because he is now supporting the same institution that blackballed Colin Kaepernick. This is the hot button topic of the day.
I'm going to jump in there quick because they're saying Jay-Z's, crossed that line because he's teamed up with them. But all those players that were, in solidarity for him and taking a knee, they still played in the league.
Thank you.
They still taking that paycheck. So
Thank you. Say it again.
So technically, who's the sellout? Because you took a knee one game and then you're like, hey, Casey, take a knee again. You ain't playing. Like, okay, boss.
I'll take it even further. How many of those people who are complaining still watch every NFL game?
But that's it. Like, technically, like
buying Madden. Give me a bloody break.
Bloody break.
Like, technically, like if those people that stood with him, played on the field with him, if they really wanted to support it and really make a change, they would have left the league. Then they would have said, you know what, I'm not playing this league. I'll go overseas. I'll play in any other league in the States or in Europe because I'm going to support. I won't play. I'm going to continue to play football, but it's not going to be here.
Thank you. I completely agree with you.
So for Jay-Z, for what Jay-Z is doing, is Jay-Z is he's I won't say bridging a gap, but he's trying to build a bridge with the NFL because we all know that hip hop has a strong influence on sports, and like whether it's clothing, whether it's lyrics, like people hear it. Like Jay-Z, like I said, for as popular as Jay-Z is, Jay-Z had a line in a song. People that don't know who Jay-Z is, don't know a song of Jay-Z, know that line though, because it made headlines, right? So it's like, I don't see nothing wrong with what Jay did.
Here's what I'm gonna say, and I need you guys to just think for a second about this. The NFL is a bunch of old white men, billionaires that own sports teams. They know they have a problem with the representation of social injustice among the black community. When you own a business and you have a problem, what do? You seek advice.
Mm-hmm.
You hire a consultant. You get someone that can help. Roger Goodell and his friends turned to Jay-Z and Rock Nation because I think it's the closest thing to what they are. They're a bunch of business moguls, successful men, and they have an issue that they can't solve. Doesn't matter what these guys do, someone's going to have issue with it. They went and got the one guy that relates to them that they thought could help on the issue. What more can they actually do?
This is the problem with some people.
Right?
In our community.
Okay. Right?
Right? Is that Mark said it brilliantly. Where were all the people who stood with Kaepernick when he wasn't playing? I didn't see any.
Playing.
Where were all the people who were saying, never going to watch the NFL again? Yeah, their ratings went down, but they still made money. And I'm pretty sure I saw a bunch of black people in the stands at those games.
Of course.
Right?
I mean,
what about them? Are they sellouts too?
No, it's not all black people. That's
No, but I'm not talking to all black people. I'm talking about those ones that are on Google and Instagram or whatever the hell the social media platform is that they want to big up their chest on, right? To call out the next man. What have they done?
Oh, Casey's foot just came out. Call out the next man.
What?
Okay.
That was unintentional.
August 18th, Colin Kaepernick tweets out, "My brothers, Eric Reed, Kenny Stills," another guy's in there too, "continue to fight for the people, even in the face of death threats. They have never moved past the people and continue to put their beliefs into action. Stay strong, brothers."
That's what I was gonna chime in. Like, those two are the only two that continue to still kneel.
Are they in the league?
Yeah, they're still players. They're still kneeling.
And Casey's saying, "Well, that's the problem. They would have left if they."
But the thing is that there's two or three guys that still do it. What are the owners doing? Owners not doing anything anymore. Why? Because that owner doesn't want to put himself in the light, saying that I'm gonna now chastise a guy for kneeling. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna let. In a sense, he's gonna let sleeping dogs lie. He's like, he's kneeling. Keep kneeling because. Regardless of what you do, Kaepernick ain't coming back. You can kneel.
He ain't gonna play on this
you
team.
can kneel. You can sleep during the anthem. He ain't coming back.
And I'm not wronging players for that either. I'm not. Right? I'm not saying a bunch of players should have stopped playing in the NFL. What I'm saying is, why aren't those people on social media calling those guys out as well? That's what I'm saying. So I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about the people who are going to watch the games. I'm not talking about the people who are the NFL players who are still playing the game. I'm talking about, why aren't we calling them out as well?
I'm not for calling. I don't care about calling anybody out. What I'm saying is, you have a problem. We're talking about these crazy social issues.
No, we were talking about the backlash. You said, what was the backlash?
That's
what we're referring to.
But what I'm saying is that, like, okay, there's this crazy backlash. People are upset. Like, what did you want the NFL to do? Like, what was you're taking all this action. What was the point of your kneeling?
You want to know what they wanted to do? They wanted to bring back Cap and pay him like $50 million a year. They wanted to get a bunch of black owners. Hey, you take part of the money. They wanted it all. The world doesn't work that way.
But do you think it has to do with them changing the structure of the actual NFL? Because that's not what the protests are about in the first place. They're about social injustice. So I'm saying, if the NFL's, because this is actually not the NFL's problem whatsoever. The NFL employs tons of black people and they support tons of black initiatives. And the NFL said, well, this isn't enough because this is happening on our front and we're in trouble. So they went out and they hired a guy that owns a company that they thought could help relate to these people and address these things and build these issues.
Still will. Let's not blow this bigger than it is. This is a bunch of news outlets who are trying to make money, so they're creating a story because a bunch of crybabies on Twitter, right, and a bunch of losers in their basement are tweeting. That's what this is about. Majority of the people, one, probably don't care.
Well,
right?
Now, I'm going to give you guys another thing. I'm going to give you guys Colin Kaepernick's stats in the last year he played in the NFL. In 2016, he started 11 games. In those games, he was 1 win and 10 losses. His pass completion percentage was 59%, the lowest in the league among starters. At the beginning of the season, he was coming off the bench. He threw 16 touchdowns with 4 picks, which is actually a pretty decent ratio. But he lost. He didn't complete passes. And he's hurting the bottom line. My point is, he's not a starter at the start of the season. He becomes a starter because of an injury. He's arguably on his way out of the league anyway. Do you think that this elongated his relevance?
I don't think it was his intention, if that's what you're asking. I believe that he knelt for a reason, and he believed in that reason, and I agree with it. Do all the people who are naysayers in social media know any of that stuff you just said? I highly doubt it. But it doesn't matter to them.
He was the best player in the world.
They probably never heard of the man's name before.
That's fair.
Right?
That is facts, Casey.
That is facts. Now, Jay-Z's angle on the whole thing. Do you think Jay-Z's play is actually to help the situation? Or do you think Jay-Z struck a deal for his company and he's also going to look into doing some things for social issues on the side?
Why can't, and I'll let Mark answer quickly, but I just have a quick question. Every other race could do both.
Yep.
Why can't we?
No, why can't he?
Sure. Right? But why? The question wouldn't have been asked if this was a white person.
Oh, no.
It wouldn't have been asked.
They couldn't have hired a white person.
My point is, if it was for an issue for something like that, I'm saying they wouldn't even have asked
abortion?
it. They wouldn't even have asked, can you be social but still make money? Why is it a choice between one or the other?
Well, that's true. But first of all, he's already making the money. So there's not if he's...
I'm just talking about with this particular deal.
Yeah.
Right? Why is it a choice between one or the other? Why can't we affect change, right, and still make a profit like everybody else does?
That's fair. Mark, what do you think?
It's like I said, I guess prior to us taping here. It's, like Jay-Z said it best, is like Kaepernick's done what he's done. We have to, in a sense, move past that. Like, you can continue to kneel, but it's just kneeling.
Like, build on it, right?
Yeah, like I remember today had that rule that if you don't want to stand, stay in the locker room. If now Anthem goes on and teams aren't on the field anymore, they'll be like, why isn't anyone here? Because everyone's trying to stand up for it. Anthem's still gonna play. The game's still gonna start on time. Just that no one's gonna be there, because that's like almost saying now everyone in the stands should be there. If you bought a ticket, you should be there when the Anthem plays. Don't walk in when the Anthem's playing. Stay outside the stadium and then come in.
You're on fire today, man. Fire!
Because it's like, I get it. It's an anthem, but regardless of the fact that like some people don't even show up for the anthem. People show up in the first quarter. So it's like, who cares? Let them play. Let the game go on. Because the bottom line, you paid a ticket to see people perform. You came to root on your home team. You came to boo a player. Bottom line is like, Jay-Z, like, move past it. Start doing stuff to kind of, he had to see he was a sacrificial lamb.
Remember, they paid him.
Oh, and that's it. But he was the sacrificial lamb, but he got compensated for what he did.
Yeah. Now, here's why, one question that always gets me. How did the NFL become the bad guy in this situation? If you work at a place and someone came to your work and protested and it affected your workplace, isn't the person that owns that workplace going to ask you not to protest?
So the problem was he was kneeling for a bunch of games and no one cared.
Yeah.
The problem was certain aspects of the media decided to make a story out of it and used it as a political weapon. That's actually what happened.
Yeah.
Right? He was used as a political football, no pun intended, right? To demonize a certain portion of the American electorate.
What?
When did this all start?
Trump?
It started during the 2016 election. That's not a coincidence. He was used as a political tool and it worked really well, right? And that's why the owners, you're asking why no one cares about the kneeling anymore? Because there's no election going on right now.
It's not a factor until next year.
That's what this was about. This was about demonizing and making a visual of, look at what they're doing, right? Vote for this is what happens if you vote for them. It worked.
It's crazy because the situation had nothing to do with the NFL. But the NFL had to sign Jay-Z on to attempt to fix it. And now it's splashing back in their face.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's splashing back in their face.
No. But I haven't seen a comment from the NFL or Jay-Z. I don't think they care about the noise.
Oh, of course.
They're going to do what they agreed to do.
Of course.
Right? Which, no one knows what that is. And that's the funniest part about all. You said it at the beginning.
Yeah.
No one knows what they're going to be doing.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone is mad in the first place.
Well, here's the thing. The NFL...
a few people.
They did this to address something. Because you don't need this deal. Right? The NFL doesn't have to make this deal. They can find Pippi Longstocking and do the Super Bowl halftime show. No one cares who does it. Everyone has a good time. They struck this deal because there was an issue that needed to be addressed. They addressed this issue and it hits more backlash than positive. There's a bunch of white guys sitting in the room right now being like, well, why didn't that work? We gave them what they wanted. We gave them their hero. We gave them Jay-Z.
Doesn't matter who they give them.
I know.
At the end of the day, it didn't matter what they did. Like you said, they've become the villain in the story, right? And if I was the NFL, I would stick to what I'm doing, stick to whatever plan Jay-Z and I came up with, and see it through. And then we'll see if there's positive change. Then we'll see if those same people making YouTube videos talking about how Jay-Z's and Uncle Tom and all that. Let's see what they're going to make a video about the positives that come out of it.
Well, my thing is,
I doubt it.
A lot of NFL players are doing positive things to affect change, and they've been doing it without having a big headlines. I'm a big Eagles fan, so Malcolm Jenkins and Eagles safety, every month he's out doing something. He's in his community, like helping. And I think that's a great thing. And if Jay-Z can put himself and his money behind those initiatives, it'll be fantastic.
And you make it so it's a business, so it's sustainable.
Right? Well, that's what they're trying to do. And I think that's how the NFL owners think, if that makes sense to you.
Of course it is.
You know, and I think they and I'm don't know these guys, so I'm just pulling out a hair on the whim. But for them to go and strike a deal to try to make something happen, I think they actually sat in a chair and like, hey guys, what can we do with this? We should try something. Let's try something. And they went and they got black people's hero, basically, Jay-Z.
I don't know if he's black people's hero,
and
but
people are furious because they didn't get Colin Kaepernick. Because if they signed Colin Kaepernick to this exact same deal, it would have been a glorious
But why would they?
victory.
What would Colin Kaepernick
Oh, I totally understand you, but I'm saying if they use that person, it would have been great. If Jay-Z, or if they signed a Nike deal with Colin Kaepernick to represent blah, 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 glorious. But they didn't because Colin Kaepernick's blackballed. And they paid him out because he sued, and they gave him money, so now he's not doing anything with the league ever again, which is fair.
I just want to finish off on. I'm disappointed with.
Well, I have two more points before you finish off.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Well, you can go first, then I'll make my points.
Well, I just want to say I'm disappointed with the response, especially when we have no idea what the planned actions that are going to be being taken. Yeah. It's so pathetic, to me, it's all about grandstanding for these people on social media, and this is why I continue to hate the social media platform.
My last point about Colin Kaepernick, because what I feel like Colin Kaepernick has taken advantage of the situation that was presented to him. Okay, so Colin Kaepernick had a chance to go and play in Denver. He would have to take a pay cut from $12 million to $7 million. Refused to take the pay cut to play. Mind you, he's a guy that's been 1-10 and 59% of his passes, which was a league low at the time. So he's not a good quarterback. He was offered a chance to play, didn't play there. Went to Seattle. Seattle didn't take him, but that was talent related. They said he's good enough to be a starter maybe somewhere, but we don't need a starter. We don't need Colin Kaepernick. you're not going to pay him that extra money. AF, the Football League, that folded, obviously, like, I don't know, halfway through their season, called Colin Kaepernick to come play, so he would have been playing football, and he could have knelt and did whatever he wanted. He told them he wanted $20 million to play for them. It's a startup league out of nowhere. He refused to go and play there. He also had conversations with other teams. I think he talked Seattle again, but he would not say or confirm that he would not kneel during the national anthem, and so they didn't sign him. So it wasn't like he was blacklisted where no one wanted to sign him. The problem was that he wanted to continue to do what he was doing, and he sacrificed money in that respect. So for him to come back later and be like, I'm still without a job, well, no, you talked yourself out of multiple jobs. You refused to play, or you thought you're worth more than you're worth, because last time you played, you weren't worth 10 million, 12 million, 20 million, these massive numbers that you're asking for. So I'm on a fence where I don't obviously know what the truth is, but I know both sides in this situation aren't really clean, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe what the AFL is called, right?
AAF.
Oh, it's just called AF?
AAF.
Okay, whatever. Vince McMahon's league, right?
No. This is the XFL. That's coming up.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to hear the team name for that league.
So anyway, whatever this league was,
cool,
I do understand why he'd want to get paid more for that, because he would be the draw, right? So that goes back to I understand it, because he's looking at more as a...
Do you think they had $20 million?
I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying he should have been paid that. What I'm saying is his line of thinking was, okay, well, if you're expected to make this much money, people are going to watch just because I'm playing, so I deserve a chunk of that money. That was his argument there. That was his belief. As for, did he believe he was worth more than he actually was? I'm sure most players in most sports believe that. Right?
Dude,
so, I mean, I don't think that's odd.
What I'm saying is that for him to say that no one will hire me, it's not no one will hire you. You were refusing work.
He did what he was supposed to do.
Right.
Right.
Mark, what do you have to add?
I think it's pretty much been covered. Like, you can't do much more than what it is now, man. Like he said, he was given opportunities to kind of, I guess, rekindle a career and at least go out a little more gracefully than to have your career cut short. And then, he could have went overseas but what's he going to say? It's like, well, because there's no real competition. It's like, at some point, you don't care. Like, at some point, you can't care about the competition. You just want to play. Like,
yep.
Look at the big three. Like, it's not elite, but these guys just still want to hoop.
First of all, big three is elite. The guys at that age are out there balling. They got a 4-point line out there. That is the most elite 3-on-3 you're ever going to get.
When you have to make a 4-point line, that's where you're hurt.
No, that's elite. That's elite old man ball.
But the thing is that you just want to hoop. Like, at some point, you just want to hoop.
You
still want
ball.
Like,
they don't need the money. All those guys are NBA players.
The skill level is still good.
Yep.
Like, because all those guys are playing are pretty skilled at their age and at their ability, so they're hooping. They don't care. Some people feel they're too good. They're like, yeah, I'm in my mid-30s, but I'm still better than half these guys. I don't want to play here. If you want to play ball, play ball. Doesn't make a difference where you are. Be grateful for it, because it's like now you either end up being like a Melo and just going to runs all the time,
man,
because you don't want to play. Like,
why'd you have to do that again?
Yo, he's not. Look, man's going to runs.
Are you going to bury Melo again?
I'm burying my gun.
Yeah, I'm just going to play it. Just, you can keep talking.
I will dig him up, bury him, and
dig him up again.
Dig him up again. Like the man played. He tried, but his pride killed him, man. And the thing is, like,
he admitted it too.
I think pride will kill a lot of these guys. Like, regardless of in a slight sense, it's Kaepernick's pride. He's like, I stood for something, and now it's like you're too good to. You're too good to kind of just go back to the sport. It's like people aren't going to forget you, but
honestly, I think he could make more money off the field.
He did make more money off the field.
I think that's why he didn't play.
I think his career is.
But that's it. He could be a coach. He could be doing whatever and still make money and still get impact.
Listen, the owners don't want that guy in the league. Don't get that twisted. If you sat down, you asked 30 of them, 29 and a half of them be like, I'm not touching that guy.
He's a lightning rod.
Right? You don't want that. And here's like, and that's where I always get back to, like, the owners own the teams. Like, these guys are a collective of people, and they have a ton of money, and they invest a lot of money in the game, and they don't even need the money from the game. So if you hurt their bottom line, if you hurt their money-making machine, they have a choice and an option to exclude you because they own it. You can say whatever you want, you're good enough, and you're a nice guy, whatever, but ownership is ownership. Like, I own this house. If I was like, I don't want the lights anymore, I stopped paying the bill, they cut it off. You know, I make a choice. So these owners sat down in a room or on a phone and said, hey, this kneeling stuff, man, like, Cap's got to go.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that. And, like looking at owners, like, I understand, like, players and owners. It's like, you own the team, great. Speak your mind, but don't clip a man's wings. Like,
right?
That's like, let him do what he has to do as long as it's respectful. You know?
Well, they did him dirty, right?
They?
But they did him dirty.
Well,
but you are absolutely right in that. As an owner of a team, right? It's not like he was protesting outside when he wasn't working, quote unquote, right? So I understand your argument. And I agree to it to a point, but for him to be blackballed from the NFL, they did him dirty that way. Right?
Well, because they paid him, we can officially say he was blackballed. Because they were like, sorry, man.
But at the same token, right? Like you said, he was offered all these contracts and opportunities. May not be for the money he wanted, but he was offered this stuff. Do most people know that? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It's written. I read it.
But do most people know it?
No, most people don't.
Because the media won't project
we
that.
live in a society where facts don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And people just want to be angry. And they want to show that they're angry. And they want to show their righteousness. And that's what this is really about.
People want to kneel, but they don't want to actually make change.
Kaepernick knelt, and you know what? I think he did influence change. So I'm not going to say all people. But these losers on Instagram and Twitter, that's exactly who you just described.
Listen, Colin Kaepernick knelt, and it cost him millions of dollars. What he did was admirable.
Yeah.
The people behind him, not so much. And I don't know them all, so I can't say all the people that whatever. But Colin Kaepernick knelt, and it cost him, and he accepted it. Right? And he complains, so everyone's going to complain. The people right now that are calling people sellouts and saying what do you want, actually?
They don't care. It's not about that. It's about them.
Yeah.
It's about themselves and saying, look at me, look at me, look at me.
That's fair. All
Damn,
right.
social media. Okay, what's the next topic?
No, I think, you know what? I was going to say let's get out of here, but I got to do it, man. Boogie Cousins tore his ACL, and he's out for the whole year, and the Lakers need a new center. And here's why. Anthony Davis doesn't like playing center.
He refuses for
the
what I'm hearing.
7-foot-tall best center in the league doesn't want to play center. So they're working out Dwight Howard, Joakim Noah, and Maurice Spates. You have three options. Who are you putting on the Los Angeles Lakers to win a championship, Mark?
Carmelo Anthony. Even though I just
hold on. Are we just gonna bury him again? Or is that what this is?
Even though I just
you don't need to play it again, man.
Even though I just buried him, I'll dig him up again. But no, you could pick anyone essentially. But the thing is, like I said, Anthony Davis is a 7-footer, but his skill set, you don't need him in the block. You want the floor stretched a bit more. You have JaVale. You just need another decent center. I'd go back and get Dwight, because Dwight, out of the potential guy that they're looking at, granting if he's healthy, could with that kind of team, can easily give you a good 12-10, no problem. And that's all you want from him at his age and his skill set that hasn't changed much at all. Mm-hmm. It's like, all I want is 12 and 10 from you, because Anthony's going to do the rest. LeBron's going to chip in what he has to do. Danny Green's going to have to do. JaVale McGee will put in 6 points and like 8 rebounds. That's all I want from you guys.
What if Dwight, though, is a locker room problem?
He's not. Not anymore.
The guy has been on a different team every year for the past, I don't even know how many. Since he left Orlando.
You got to learn now.
He left Orlando. He's been on a different team every year. I think that's been like 6 years.
But that's the one thing is, and like you just said, if we look at the face value of it, go back and look at all those teams and look at the players that are around him. he had issues in Washington. Who do you have around him? Beal, John Wall.
Are you blaming Beal and John Wall for?
No, but what I'm saying is that it's from when he left Orlando. All he had was Jameer Nelson, a couple other guys.
Took those guys to the finals.
But the thing is that he was the main person.
Yeah.
There wasn't much else. When he was in the Lakers, he had to deal with Kobe and Steve Nash. He had other strong characters.
Wouldn't you say wouldn't that make him the common denominator? Like, you're telling me he's been to 6 different teams and he couldn't get along with 6 different sets of players? Like, I'm sorry, that's on him.
What was the problem in Atlanta
look in the mirror.
or Charlotte? Here's my take, and this is: you get Dwight Howard and it doesn't work out. Do you think Mo Spates isn't still available?
Valid point.
Valid point.
But when was the last time Mo Spates played?
I know.
He's been playing overseas in China.
They working out 3 of those guys. The only guy that's actually an NBA caliber player still is Dwight Howard. Joakim Noah won Defensive Player of the Year in the Stone Age. What's that guy going to come and do now?
He made it. He worked hard enough to make it back in the league.
Yeah, he balled. You think he's going to play on a good team? I don't need that guy.
He's on Memphis.
But like Mark said, like, you're only asking him to play 15 minutes a night.
Yeah, but if Dwight Howard's 15 minutes a night, it's a double-double.
But I think, and that's the thing, is like, out of all those guys, Dwight Howard, if healthy, gives you the best benefit.
Until he starts crying because LeBron's too hard on him.
But the thing is that
he's playing for nothing.
There's
no heart in him anymore.
But the thing is, look,
he's been playing for nothing for years, and he's still crying.
Yeah, but the thing is, look at Mo Spates. Mo Spates.
I would take Mo. The
last time I seen Mo Spates, the last time I seen him, he was on Golden State, and he wouldn't do much.
Yep.
The man plays like Pat Patterson.
Yep.
Ain't got no hop.
No lift.
Can hit a 3 here and there.
But he's gonna play his role.
Jared Dudley plays his role.
Dwight Howard has never learned how to play his role.
He's got to know how to play his role in this team.
Guy, if he hasn't learned yet, I don't care what his interview said. What he said in his interview, I don't care.
I would take the dark horse. I'd pick Gortat.
Wow, he's on a team already. He's somewhere. He can't come.
But Mo Spates is in China for crying out loud.
Yeah, but he'll come though. Okay, so at least with Joakim Noah, you're gonna get a guy that can play elite defense.
I pay Joakim. He knows his role.
And they're all old on, but at least and LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to need a guy that's going to defend
and play their role. That's so key.
Dwight Howard's going to rebound and dunk the ball.
You think so, but he's never been able to do it. He's never been able to play his role.
No, he's always been 12 and 10 or 7, 14 and 10.
I'm not saying he can't score his points. What I'm saying is he's never been able to.
You think he's the man on the team?
Dude, you don't not get along with so many teams. And there isn't something wrong with you.
I hear you.
You create a snowball effect.
Okay.
You always everyone creates a snowball effect.
Is your actual vote Mo Spates? Are you going Dwight Howard? I know Casey went Mo Spates.
I would go Dwight just for if you could settle him down. He has a better upside than all those guys.
Agreed. He is the best player out of the 3. But I'm looking at the fit exactly.
So you're going Mo Spates.
I'd probably go Joakim.
Yeah, okay. I think the Lakers are gonna go because Dwight Howard's on Memphis already. He's already on a team.
Yeah, I never understood that. He signed with Memphis, so would that be a trade?
Yeah, they're gonna figure something out. But I'm like,
and they're gonna dig up Carmelo Anthony.
Oh my lord! So and this is the last we're gonna talk about Carmelo Anthony. We're gonna go into a new season fresh, and Melo's gonna stay buried.
Unless he does another interview.
For Carmelo Anthony to go on the Stephen A. Smith show and pour his heart out as to why it didn't work with 3 separate teams. And then he goes home. Well, he talked about the New York situation. Then he talked about the OKC situation. They went to Houston. And he said the OKC situation was fine. He didn't understand why they wanted him to opt out of his deal. Because that only went sour because he opted in for his last year, which I'm doing. Who's not opting in for $25 million? Now, he goes from that, then he's making videos working out with LeBron and Chris Paul. My thing is, the Lakers have this roster spot, okay? LeBron and Melo are working out together all the time. Do you think Melo feels some kind of way that LeBron hasn't asked him to come to the Lakers?
No.
Like, what? No.
If you saw, sorry, Casey, if you saw ex-NBA player Royce White talk about it, after like one of the big 3 games, we're like, how the hell does Jared Dudley have a spot?
I know that's what they were saying
in the NBA, and Carmelo doesn't. And he's like, and he kind of shifted it to and put the spotlight on LeBron. He's like, you're a banana boat, partner out there. You're working out with him, and he can't get you on the team. Royce Rice essentially is saying that Carmelo Anthony is blackballed from the league. But I remember from him leaving Denver, they were like, he's just a cancerous kind of player. Like, he's just not.
No one wants him, like Mark said.
LeBron James is the one his
friend. Chris Paul was on that banana boat too. He kicked his ass off the team. That's worse than LeBron not taking him. Chris Paul said, yeah, come on, we're going to do things good. 12 games later, you got to go, dog. Right? Like, I mean...
It's crazy. I'm blown away.
Mark's probably right. There's probably stuff we don't know about.
Yeah, probably.
Right? But the GMs obviously do. And LeBron, I'm sure, has said, yo, let's get Melo. And GMs are like, no.
No, there's no... If LeBron says, let's get anybody, there's no GM that's saying
not
no.
anymore. LeBron signed a multi-year contract.
Oh, he's done.
He doesn't hold the Lakers by the balls anymore.
Not the way like that.
Not the way he did it in Cleveland.
Yeah, I thought Ron Blanken's still not saying no to LeBron James.
I don't know. I just feel like
LeBron James told him to sign me tomorrow. I'd be in Los Angeles.
Melo has fallen from grace. He hasn't.
Well, we have buried him twice already on the show,
and there might be resurgence because he has been working out with some Brooklyn Nets players.
It'd be funny if he makes the league.
I hope he does though. Like, I've never been the biggest Carmelo Anthony fan after he left Denver, but I think that he is too good of a player to not be in the league.
Here's what I think.
I mean, when you compare him to other Jared Dudley.
Look at the rest of his draft class. They're out of the league. They're crazy. LeBron James.
They retired.
LeBron James is the last guy left.
They retired.
I know, but they're not playing because they can't play anymore.
No. But I mean, Dwayne Wade retired.
Yeah,
his knees are shot.
Yeah,
Chris Bosh has a blood clot. He was told he can't play or he can die.
I mean, even the rest of the draft class, though, the guys aren't elite.
We're talking about the superstars in the league.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been 17 years. Like, these guys, they don't play anymore.
I get it, but Mark's right. Carmelo Anthony is still better than a large group of players in the NBA.
Better in what way? Shooting the basketball?
Oh, yes.
Doesn't shoot the three that well.
Okay, he doesn't defend. I know he doesn't do anything else other than score.
Doesn't rebound. There's no value really to have.
Most Spates does.
Hey, most Spates didn't make it. Jared Dudley can knock down threes.
Jared Dudley's trying to get in the face of Ben Simmons.
And he's a LeBron James super fan.
The man looks like Elmer Fudd with a headband on.
All right. We're going to get out of here. This was fun.
It was.
I enjoyed this, talking about stuff I don't know much about.
Right? Yeah. And season 3 is starting very soon.
Yeah, when are we getting that going? Because I feel like Nash hasn't been here in a minute.
I think Nash is back next week, and I think we're launching next week. I got a new theme.
Are we all here, or is something going on? I know sometimes
I would like to have you all here. Are you guys going to come back?
Do we have enough?
No, summer's over. It's time to go back to work.
Is our setup? Do we have a setup for all of us? Because we haven't done all 4 of us before.
Yeah, we have a setup for all of us. Don't worry, we got that.
I feel exiled sometimes because it's like you 3 guys and I'm never here. So
what are you talking about? I've done just as many shows as you have.
No, but I've never done it with all 4 of you guys. Like all 4 of us in the same room.
I feel like 2 shows ago was all 4 of us. But
no way.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm a pretty good recurring guest.
You are a pretty good recurring. You've been turning up attendance very well.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't talk about movies today. That's surprising.
But that's next week when Nash is back. That's what he talks about.
Yeah.
All right. Bring up a bunch of movies you never heard of. Make himself look smart.
Yep.
Sounds
like, smart. Not really smart if you only know about them. You got to be smart. You got to bring.
Shout outs to Nash watching every movie in the top 100 IMDb. Nash Wells and Smythe host the Team Podcast. We love sports just like you.